All right, guys, we have our first big hurricane of the season out there headed towards Florida and possibly headed towards us in South Carolina. I just want to remind you of a couple of things to remember on the real estate front when it comes to being ready for a hurricane. These are not evacuation routes. These are not necessarily things you're going to hear on the local news. So hopefully you pick up a little something from it. Now, I'll start with a personal story. I actually bought 2 investment properties yesterday, which was Monday, and I woke up Sunday night in the middle of the night and I thought, oh no, I don't have my insurance set up for those houses I'm supposed to buy tomorrow. So even as a real estate agent, things slipped my mind. I scheduled a text for 7 a.m. to go to my insurance person and ask her to get my insurance set up in time for closings that day. And thankfully, we caught it just in time to get the insurance set and bind the insurance policies before closing so that I didn't have to wait till after the storm, because later on that day, insurance companies started holding coverage. They would not bind any new coverage because there's a named storm out in the ocean. So tip number 1 is, if you're buying a house during hurricane season, which is basically June, July, all the way through November, you need to get your insurance bound as soon as possible. As soon as you're under contract on that home, don't wait till the last minute like I did, and go ahead and bind your policy. And that way, when it comes time for closing, you're not scrambling and thinking, great, now we got to wait another 5 days till the hurricane blows in, blows up, and blows out, or we got to try to buy a house cash without insurance, which is not a good idea. So you really need to get that done as soon as possible. All right. Tip number 2 is also insurance related. Make sure that you have the right coverage on your property, that it's updated. If you guys got your house insured 10 years ago, or even in this case 5 years ago or 3 years ago, then some of those numbers are going to be way off because your house is worth a whole lot more than it was when you got that insurance. And the materials are worth and cost, maybe they're not worth more, but they cost a lot more dollars than they used to cost. So, you could have a $600,000 policy on your house because that's what you bought it for, and that's what it would have cost to replace it years ago. And now something wipes out your house and it's going to cost $1.3 million to replace it, either buying another house or repairing it and replacing it with all the materials. So make sure you talk to your insurance person. We had an agent in the company that had this happen. Thankfully, they updated their policy, and then they had a house fire later that year. I'm sure there's nothing nefarious about that. But anyway, they got their insurance coverage straightened out first, and thank God they had that higher policy that was able to cover everything. If not, they actually would have been in big trouble. They would have been underwater by several $100,000. So make sure you bind your insurance. Make sure you check your insurance. And then finally, just realize that if you have a closing around hurricane season, things can happen. For instance, if this hurricane goes through and say your closing's Friday and this hurricane does some damage on Thursday and there's maybe an area declared a disaster area, some of the banks will come through and say they want the appraiser to go back and check and make sure there's no damage to the property. I just tell you that so you can be prepared for it. Be ready that it could happen. There's not much you can do about that. But in the long run, it's probably better for you, because if you're about to buy a house and the closing doesn't go through and a tree falls on the house, it's probably better that it's not your house yet, in the long run. So you can get that fixed and then close the following week, or hopefully the appraiser goes out and looks and says, no, it's still good to go, and you can go ahead and close. But anyway, if you guys need any help buying or selling a house, whether it's hurricane season or not, give me a call, and I'll love to help you. Thanks, and have a great day.